Thank you very much. Hey, so thank you all for being here and being the kind of people that show up to conferences like this. Obviously, a huge shout out to Diego and the team. And Chris was pretty fantastic. I did write down, somebody is gonna find a PowerPoint mistake along the way, so the blue people, maybe you'll send me a note. If we've never had a chance to work together before, Hector, go ahead and put up my slides. You're gonna see kind of me and my slides. The one thing I'm gonna tell you all is everyone is gonna get access to everything I'm sharing today, and I probably prepared an hour worth of content. So the thing that I know to be true is the market right now in New Zealand is interesting to say the least. So when the team reached out and said, would you have a conversation recognizing that we're dealing with bank issues, we're dealing with tariffs, we're dealing with what feels like a sluggish market, which was similar to last year, coming off what I refer to 2021, 2022 as the champagne and cocaine of real estate. It's a different environment. So this market, this environment requires a different version of you. So when the team said to me, what do you think would help them the most? The first thing I said is, in an environment like this, for me, 3.5 decades into my career, the one thing I know is the more I scale trust, the more I deliver to the marketplace and build my brand, the more yeses I get, the more opportunities I get, regardless of the market conditions, I do better. So we're gonna talk about that, and I'm gonna give you an insane hack, and you're not gonna be able to take all the notes. I'm gonna get you all the notes at the end. If you just follow me on Instagram, I'll make it easy. Number two is, I know this, as much as I have traveled the world, whether it's to, Australasia, throughout all of Europe, everywhere I go, in markets like this, people are in their head. And I don't know if you're like me, sometimes when you get in your head, it takes you out of action, it gets you kind of messed up. And again, I say, this market requires a different version of you. So I'm gonna give you some insights, some things that I do with my personal clients, the things I do to myself to go through the 9/11 market, the recessions, the 5 recessions that I've been through in my business. Every single time there's a challenge, there's a shift that's required, and I'm gonna give you the insight on that today. And then the third thing is, I'm gonna just really go hard on what you need to do differently to sell your inventory. Because we're sitting on, longer days on market, uncertainty with buyers, which means we've got to work with our sellers differently today than we did even 2 years ago. So we're gonna jump into all that stuff, and it's gonna be action-packed, and I'm gonna go fast. I hope you got your phones out. You're gonna take some photos, but remember at the end, I'm gonna say, if you want all my slides, just go to my Instagram, and I'll make it super easy for you. So the first question I get is, hey, I'm 35 years into my career, and obviously very kind, 70,000 hours, pushing 75,000 hours of private coaching sessions. Now, here's what I know. If I didn't make the adjustment I'm about to share with you, my brand would be in trouble. See, I was early on things like Vine. I was early on YouTube. I was early on Beluga, which you probably never heard of, another social media site that didn't make it. I was early on pretty much every major platform. And I pride myself on doing that because I understand how consumers are searching for what it is that they want. So the first thing we want to talk about today is, how do I make sure that you win in an environment where a few less people are going to Google and more people are going to all the major large language models, Perplexity and Chat and everything else to find their agent? And if I was there face to face, I would look out to all of you and I'd say, how many of you have already sold a house to someone that found you because they searched on one of the AI platforms? And inevitably, in every room I go to around the world, people raise their hand. But it's just beginning, and I'm gonna tell you exactly what I tell my personal clients. The people that are literally paying me $8,000 to $10,000 a month to work with them to position their business so you can do the same. So let's get right into it. The first thing I'm gonna tell you is, have you already searched yourself on all the large language models? Grok, Chat, Perplexity, Gemini, and Claude being sort of the primary 5. If you haven't taken the time to search, and I would do it on all 5 of them. Don't fall in love with one platform. I'm an investor in Grok, I'm an investor in Perplexity, right? I would love to get into the deal on Claude. I couldn't get into the deal on Chat. Gemini is Google, right? So the bottom line is this: you can't fall in love with one, you gotta do it on all of them. So I imagine you're probably reading right now, and it says, I'm gonna go in there and I'm gonna say, act like an AI and marketing strategist, review my online presence on all major AI search tools. And guess what it's gonna do? It's gonna analyze everything that it sees, but I'm not gonna finish the prompt there. I'm gonna keep going, and I'm gonna say, tell me the holes I need to fill, and then where can I improve? And then your recommendations to make sure that I stand out as a recognized real estate expert in Auckland, right? Wherever you are, Christchurch, wherever you are, boom, you put your city inside there and you hit go. And inevitably, every single person I've done this with, the #1 agent in Beverly Hills, who's my personal client, Aaron Kerman, literally was like, oh my God, like if I don't get this right, it doesn't matter what I've done in the past. This is a new strategy and a new approach. I've got to be relevant to the new trends of search. So I'm gonna cut to the chase because I've got a lot of ground to cover with you today. And I'm gonna tell you, here would be my first assignment if you and I were working together one-on-one. I would say, here's the plan I want you to do. Number one, you're gonna go to answerthepublic.com. Now this works around the world. It is essentially, it basically synthesizes the questions that are being asked all over the world on YouTube, Google, Bing, Instagram, TikTok, and a little site called Amazon.com. When you go there to answerthepublic.com, you're gonna see, type in some keywords. You're gonna type in Auckland real estate. I'm just using easy things, right? Like you're gonna type in, buying a house, first-time buyer, investment properties. You're gonna type in all these keywords and it's gonna publish for you a list of all the questions that consumers are asking across all those different platforms. Now, the good news is when you're there, you're gonna hit one button and it's gonna convert that to like an Excel file. So now you have all the questions that people are asking in real time right now in your marketplace about all things housing. And there's gonna be all kinds of crazy nuanced little questions. But once you have the questions, what are you gonna do? This is what I'm doing with all my personal clients. Number two, we're gonna take your favorite large language model, right? So ChatGPT, Grok, whatever it may be. And I'm gonna say, write me a 300 to 500 word blog optimized for search engine optimization for my local area and me as the market expert. Boom, and I'm gonna hit the button and it's gonna write a 300 to 500 word blog doing everything we just prompted it to do. Now, of course, you're gonna get 85, 90, 100, 200, 500, 800 questions. So you can already imagine how many of these blogs you're gonna ask the AI tool to write on your behalf. Now, before you say, wait a minute, Tom, should I just start publishing all these things? I'm gonna say to you, no. Number three, arguably one of the most important is to read and edit the blog, right? Add your personality, change some of the words, make it yours. So maybe this Answer the Public takes you, 3 or 4 minutes, you download the file, then you go to the first large language model and you ask it to write this 300 to 500 word blog, you use the SEO terms, you use all the things I'm giving you here, and it's gonna write this beautiful blog. You need to read it, you need to edit it, you need to make sure that it sounds like you, feels like you, which will help the large language model write better for you, because we're gonna do this another 300, 800 times. Then I'm gonna say to you, step 4, ready? We're gonna post that blog in written form, 1 day a week on Facebook, 3 to 4 times a day on LinkedIn, on your website, on your Google business profile, and then you're gonna add photos, graphs, and you're gonna tag, obviously, areas on the map. And all these things, what's gonna happen, my friend, when you do this is what all my clients say the same thing. Okay, I'm like 2 weeks in, and all of a sudden, I'm getting more traffic to my website. All of a sudden, I'm getting more comments on my Facebook page. All of a sudden, I get a phone call. Hi, I just read your, and I want to. And I'm telling you, it happens in 2 weeks, but the real magic is 120 days in. Just like everything else we do in life, the more we do it, the better it gets, and that snowball effect begins to happen. And I know right now, if we were there face to face, I would literally have you turn to the person to your right or left and say, you should not do this, I'm going to do this. Because this is that important and it's that powerful to generate, let's just call it free leads, but most importantly, scale trust and build your brand. Now, number 5 is we're gonna film long and short form videos answering the question for your YouTube channel, for Reels, for TikTok. And by the way, make a little side note, one of my favorite sites, I was just with the CEO of this company in Los Angeles in March of this year. The site's called HeyGen, Haygen. You've probably seen it. This is where literally I can create an avatar of me just by talking to a camera like I'm doing right now, moving my body, using my inflections in my tone, pausing, getting quiet, getting loud. And you know what it does? It completely synthesizes me. And then using HeyGen, I can just upload the scripts and my digital version of me films it for you, for all the people out there that are still afraid of the camera. It's a beautiful solution and the technology is so close. So we're gonna make sure we film all this, and then what are we gonna do with that? We're gonna publish it on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on TikTok, on Instagram, on your YouTube channel. And you know what's gonna happen, my friend? You are gonna become the person in your market that's answering all the questions that consumers are asking. We started this by saying, how do you scale trust and how do you build your brand? How do you scale trust and build your brand? And what that all means to you is selling becomes easier, marketing becomes easier, you become more recognized. Everywhere you go, people are like, hey, 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 hey. And if you want a really good example of this, follow my buddy Ken Pozek, P-O-Z-E-K, Ken Pozek, on any one of his channels. Ken is the #1 agent in his marketplace, like 3% market share in a huge, huge city, Orlando, Florida, if you've heard about it, Disneyland and all that stuff. And everywhere he goes, he is the recognized, oh, Ken, hey, Ken, hey, Ken. That's what happens after you do this for a year. It's gonna be powerful. The last one, number 6, is while you're doing this, and by the way, you could delegate this to a 15-year-old who could do it for you, no problem. While you're doing this, you're gonna continue to prospect, follow up, and do all your regular marketing activities, because if you stop doing that stuff, we all know what happens. By the way, make a little side note. Write down the name of this website. Write down listingleads.com. Listingleads.com. It's a company I'm a part of, started about 15 months ago. I have no slide for it, but you should check it out because we're offering like a little 7-day free trial where you can access instantly about 300 of the best direct mail campaigns, texting campaigns, email campaigns, letters to write, YouTube videos to film, and Instagram videos that are working. So little side note, check it out, listingleads.com. All right, so the first thing, again, in my short amount of time is, let's scale your brand. Let's not fall into the trap of, the market's a little bit wonky, so I'm gonna get quiet. Let's use, in a market like this, to absolutely annihilate everybody else, quote unquote, your competition, and become that recognizable voice in the community that has people saying, she's the one, he's the guy, because that's what that campaign's all about. Now, the number 2 thing I want to talk to you about is there's no doubt that a challenging market requires a different version of you. If you're on X, the platform X, I met a woman about 2 years ago. Her and I were chatting via, back and forth, Twitter, X, etc. And I ended up hiring this woman to work with me. Her name is Dr. Julie Gurner, G-U-R-N-E-R. You should check her out on X. She is prolific there, and she's prolific on Substack. I said to her about, 8 or 9 months ago, here's the vision I have as the global real estate market comes out of this, and we go into that next boom market, which I believe is gonna happen, whether it's early 2026, middle of 2026. I said, I just know in this current mindset, this current market, it requires a different version of me, but when the market shifts, it also requires a different version of me. And her and I started chatting about the one thing that you know and I know, and that is your identity. How I identify myself is my reality. Now you might say, oh man, Tom, some of the woo-woo stuff, the human psychology, human performance, and I'm gonna say to you, it is the difference that makes the difference, my friends, and I'll give you a perfect example. You ready? What I know to be true is that how you identify yourself determines your attitude, your view of the world. Should I make this call? Should I not make this call? It absolutely impacts your behaviors. Am I gonna get up and go to the gym today? Am I gonna do the right thing no matter what? Am I gonna follow my schedule and follow my plan or not? And all of that impacts the results that you generate. You could make the argument today, when I studied the most successful agents around the world regardless of market conditions, the way that they talk about themselves and believe about themselves is the difference that makes the difference. It's why, even in a marketplace like this, some people are having their best year ever, and other people are just struggling, and they're both doing the work. They're both doing the work. One's killing it, one's struggling. I'll give you the example. You ready? If you were to be very honest sometime tonight and answer this, I believe this market is blank, blank, and blank. I believe my business in this market is blank, blank, and blank. And you can fill in the blank with as many as you want. But what this tells me, when I get people to be very honest and vulnerable with me, is I get what's really going on in their head and what's really going on in sort of the ethos of the way that they operate, how they show up. So I'll give you an example. If you said something like, you know, this market's hard and the volatility with the economy, the tariffs and the banks, it's just killing me. And I've heard that from plenty of people around the world today. And yet, if that is your identity, if that's what you believe to be true, we both know how that person's gonna show up versus, say, I'm an agent who thrives in markets like this. I'm focused on marketing and prospecting and helping people buy and sell every single day. There's a market for someone every single day, and I'm going after it. Like, you know the difference, my friends. You know the difference. And again, I am not being motivational in any way, shape, or form. Like, I spend a lot of time with people like Tim Grover, or Chase Hughes, or Dr. Daniel Amen, all these people that are so smart, so well educated, and every one of them says to me, hey, this is the difference that makes a difference. This is that final mile. Like, if everybody's doing the work and one person's killing it and one person's not, it is 1,000% a reflection of their identity. Your identity, my friend. So change your identity, you change everything. Change your identity and you change everything. So I get the question all the time, how do I do it? It makes sense, right? It makes sense. I've seen you talk about it, Tom. Tony Robbins talks about it. All these, human performance guys talk about it. All the best gals that are in, psychology. Everybody says we've got to shift our identity. So I started thinking about, in my 35 years, 3.5 decades, which is just crazy, how many times I had to shift my identity from, salesperson to, sales manager, from sales manager to president of the company, from president of the company to starting my own business and leaving the family business, going right into the global financial, crisis, changing that, post 9/11, all these moments in time that required a different version of me. And what I was able to do is synthesize. There was 5 different things. I didn't do all 5. One is all it took, one shift and how I was operating. And I was able to shift my identity from, this is hard to let's go. So take a look at the list and you tell me which one's right for you. The one thing I know is if you do something radically different, you interrupt your old identity's pattern. I think about like the president of my company, Josh, who not too long ago, he literally called me. He said, hey, you know what? I was smoking a cigar and drinking a bourbon, and all my buddies, we all toasted and said, let's run a marathon. Now, he's a 6'4" American football player, quarterback, in high school and college. And so he's not exactly built for like the marathon lifestyle. But not only did he commit to do something radically different to interrupt the pattern, he did a 50K, right? Which is more than a traditional marathon. It shifted his identity. It shifted his view about himself as an athlete, not just this big, strong guy, but someone that could also persevere and run like crazy. Persevere and run like crazy, huh? Number 2, you got to stop listening to the old voice. You know what I'm talking about. That chatter in the back of your head that's constantly like, oh, this is hard and you should sleep in and maybe you should start drinking. It's, it's noon somewhere, right? Like that old voice that is just so debilitating. It just takes you out of your game. Number 3, you learn something new. And you know what? My kudos to you, right? For being inside this room, watching wherever you're watching, because we all know that one idea could be the spark that gives you the confidence and the momentum to go out and do way more business and enjoy the process. Number 4 is you create new accountabilities, new guardrails, new structure. So you put your ass on the line, you tell people what you're committed to, and then guess what happens? They hold you accountable to it, whether it's positive or negative. It doesn't make a difference. How you doing with your goals? Even those people are the check that I need to stay on the course. So I challenge you to pick one of the 5. And obviously, you're already doing number one because you're here at this conference, so you're getting some new insights, you're learning some new perspectives, and we're just looking for that one thing. You don't need 1,000 things, you need one thing that gives you the spark, because that spark creates more confidence and it creates more momentum. And when you have confidence and momentum, you are unstoppable regardless of market conditions. Now, number three thing, again, being mindful of time. And my friends, Diego, I may go a couple minutes over because I have way too many slides. But as I mentioned, I'm going to give you everything and then some. You just got to go to my Instagram page today, and I'll tell you which one to follow, and then type in a word, and boom, we'll send you everything. Number three, what I know to be true is in your marketplace, days on market, things aren't selling as fast, which means we need to do things like better pricing, price reductions, and start giving our sellers some alternatives in terms of getting their home sold. So I've got three strategies, and I want to talk pricing dialogues, the don't fire me report, and price reductions. But again, I can't go through all of them in 9 minutes. So I'm going to hit on kind of like the don't fire me report, and then a little price reduction dialogue, and then literally you're going to get like all these slides and then some. So the question I would ask you if we were sitting together one-on-one is, when you're on the appointment, how do you set up price expectation dialogues during the listing appointment? So I'll just give you some insights here, just some simple scripts that even the best agents on the planet are using right now just to make it easier. So one of the most important rules I have in business is communicate, communicate, communicate. That's the number one complaint sellers have. So are you open to a weekly conversation to review marketing results, showing feedback, market updates, and more? Select the date and time, boom. Excellent, I'm gonna send you an email in advance so you have time to review the data. Sound good? Yes, of course. And then we show them what I call the don't fire me report. Now, the don't fire me report is not, you don't headline it as the don't fire me report. You don't put in the email the don't fire me report. This is me talking to you as an expert. This is what you need to do to make sure that your sellers understand what's going on in the market, that you're doing everything you're supposed to do, don't fire me, and then give the listing to someone else. That's what I mean. So there's 6 parts that really help make sure that your client is well informed. So take a look. It's the showing feedback, it's open house activity, it's the stats, it's any highlights, like what are we doing, what's different, it's marketing efforts, and of course, ultimately, it's recommendations. Now, I know that could be really hard to read, but at the end of the day, it's a weekly email where you're updating them on all these different activities, minus maybe number 6, the recommendations if there's something about price. Then we're gonna send them a once a month bigger update. And this is funny, this is one of my top coaches in Fort Lauderdale, where right now, if you were selling a $10 million home somewhere along the coast of Fort Lauderdale in Florida, they right now have like 18 months supply of inventory. So she says, hey, I have to send that monthly report, sometimes, every single month for months and months and months before we finally get them to price it correctly. And what she said was, so having this as sort of the guide, the blueprint of what I should be putting in the email just makes it easier for me in the moment of truth when it's time to get them to amend the price. And you could see even right there, the showings and other engagements, she's giving like, look at first showing, second, third showing, fourth showing, seventh showing, like she's giving a lot of detail so they can't fire you. There's nothing they can say other than you have worked your butt off, maybe it's us, and we need to adjust the price. So I'll end with a little pricing reduction dialogue strategy, trying to stay on track for the entire conference here today. But I don't know what you say now, but what I know is what you say matters. I know that having a dialogue, having a script, having a set play, if you will, like in any other sporting event that you would play, having set plays makes it easier for you to finesse and improve and ultimately have the kind of results you want. So just consider this maybe in comparison to what you're currently doing. So I'm now on the phone and I'm like saying, hey, so, Hector, it's great to chat. I want to give you an update. As I mentioned, in the last 30 days in that email, we've sent out 10,000 emails. We sent out 395 text messages, and we made 172 calls to potential prospects for your property. We filmed 17 pieces of content. We received thousands of shares and comments and feedback. We did multiple open houses. We had blank people through. We've had X number of people save your home on all the major portals. And all this resulted in 11 showings. And as you know, no offers. 11 showings, and no offers. But let's also review what's happened from an activity standpoint in the last 30 days. Buyers have a choice today of X number of homes for sale in our price range with our features. I'm just gonna make up a number and say it's 30, right? Including 5 new listings that hit the market this week. What is shocking, what makes me nervous, is we've had 5 sellers take their home off the market because the home didn't sell in this environment. And we've only had 2 properties sell in the last 30 days, which tells me right now with 30 properties on the market and only 2 selling in the last 30 days, we're sitting on, my goodness, call it almost 15 weeks, 15 months. 15 months is our absorption rate. 15 months. It's gonna take us 15 months if no new listings come on the market. Now, you probably had said something like this before. And I know, for my veteran friends out there, you're gonna make this even better than me. Don't take this as a read this script verbatim. Don't do that. But if any one of these dialogues gives you a little more confidence, makes it easier for you with your process, especially when you start sending the don't fire me emails on a weekly basis, then on a monthly basis, you will earn more price reductions. You will also earn the respect of your clients, and you will earn way more referrals because of it. So we'll wrap with this price reduction dialogue. So I've showed them what we did in terms of marketing. I showed them what's going on inside the market. And now I'm gonna say, so Diego, clearly the market, pause, the agents, pause, and most importantly, the buyers have spoken. And what they've told us that our pricing needs to be adjusted. And I'm going to recommend we amend the price to X. What would you like to do? And then I'm just gonna shut up. What would you like to do? Over the phone, face-to-face, however you wanna do it. What would you like to do? And then just shut up. My friend, at this point, you've told them everything you're doing in terms of marketing. You've been telling them on a weekly basis via email. Now, once a month, we're gonna sit down and have a very honest conversation about the adjustments we need to make. And just like that, my friends, just like that, you have earned the right. And what I know to be true, you can see the little line down at the very bottom. If the home's not selling, the price isn't compelling in this environment. We're no longer in champagne and cocaine and crazy 2021. Everything was just a frenzy because the cost of money was ridiculously low. No, now we're in a totally different environment. If the home's not selling, the price isn't compelling, and it's up to you to make the switch. So let's recap. I started this by saying, first of all, and I should say it again, thank you for allowing me to be at your conference. I truthfully wish I was there face to face. I have been to New Zealand twice before, and I've kind of been all over the world twice before. Conferences and fun, but I took my son there, my goodness, for the first time when he was 11 months old. He just turned 26 yesterday, so it's been a while since he's been there. It's a pleasure to be with you. But what I want to stress is there's 3 things. Number 1, you got to scale your brand, and this is the environment to do it. And it's not just your brand, it's your brand for search, and it's not just on Google and Bing and these, but now it's on all these large language models that if you get that right, go tonight, who's the #1 real estate coach in the world? I already know where I'm gonna show up because I've done the work, and I want the same thing for you. Number 2, if you're like, but Tom, I'm not good with technology and AI makes me nervous, I would look you right in the eyes and say, your head is a scary place to be. And that whole conversation around a shift in your identity is the shift you need to take on next so you can win in this environment. Because look up here, no one cares that you don't like AI. No one cares. So you've got to make the adjustment yourself, my friend. Now, let's go to my slides again, Hector, really fast so I can tell them where they can download all the slides. So there it is, whoops. So if you want a copy of all my slides, all you got to do is go to @TomFerry on Instagram, look for my most recent post, and type the word scripts in the comment. By the way, it's a video of me going, hey, I just talked to all my buddies in New Zealand, right? So that video is for you, and there's about 30 more slides on top of this. But again, number one thing, do the work around AI search, and then send me a message on Insta, on X, on Facebook in the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and just share with me what's working, because you're gonna love it. The second thing is, what is the adjustment you need to make beyond learning while you're here that can give you the shift? Because I know one adjustment to your identity gives you the confidence, gives you the momentum to just go out and perform at your best regardless of market conditions. And then the last one, I would love a message from you sometime in the future about what did you do with all the pricing stuff? And again, I covered this much of all the slides that I'm gonna be sending you once you go to my Instagram page and find this post, and then just type in the word scripts and we'll send you everything. So, Hector, give me kind of full screen here. So as I wrap, my friend, this market's gonna require a different version of you. A more determined, a more focused, a more resilient, that kind of version of you. So I honor you for being at this conference. I honor you for showing up. I got a lot of grace and appreciation for you being the kind of person to go out of your way to be here. So hey, keep fighting the good fight. Do the work, and I promise you, 2025, 2026, 2027, you are just gonna get better and better regardless of the market. All right, my friends, thank you so much for allowing me to hang out with you guys today. Enjoy the rest of your conference. Diego, thank you, my man. I appreciate you guys always. I'm out.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tom Ferry.
Sure.
Hey, Tom, quick question before
Yes.
you go. You talk so much about that AI stuff. Where is this going? Like, you talked a little bit about how to engage it, but where is this going?
So what if I told you that 34 months ago at my annual conference like this that I do in Dallas, Texas, we started talking about AI, because that's right after ChatGPT, the app, became available, Perplexity followed. So I've been in this discussion for 34 months. I've already built multiple AI tools. What I can tell you is this. People that I respect and admire, people like Seth Godin, literally said to me, Tom, the internet was big. This is infinitely bigger. And if you do not get in early, you will fall behind quickly. And I don't say that to try and put fear in any one of you. It will eliminate jobs and it will create opportunities. It will eliminate agents that just become harder and harder to find online, that rely on the old rules of branding when the new rules are available. Once they were doing all these great things, brochures in their first website, but they're gonna miss this. And if they miss this, you miss everything, my friend. And it's gonna be very hard to recover. So I guess my simple answer is, all you have to do is be open-minded. If you could just be open-minded, and if you showed me your phone, and I can literally put my phone up like this, and you can see I've got Revy, Grok, Perplexity, Claude, ChatGPT, and AI Notebook, all within thumb's reach. And if you see your friends today at this conference, I would say, show me your phone, because if all of those tools are 6 slides back on your iPhone, you're not in the game. Is that too much?
Mate, thank you very, very much. Appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, once more, Tom Ferry!
Thank you, my friend. I'll see you soon. Take care, everybody.